see me in the dark. Welcome to my week on the plot. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, I have a week off work this week. It's Monday, and I thought I would take you along with my week. I have already got started, so there's some things I'm going to show you on the plot that I'll be finishing off today. So I was busy here at the weekend, and I've also been busy already this morning. So it's now about 1:30 on the plot. It had been my intention to be here getting on with jobs this morning, but I was slightly sidetracked. I went comfrey foraging. So I want to get the pumpkins in this week, and I want to put comfrey in the planting holes. But I used all my garden comfrey when I made the Phacelia and comfrey mulch for the tomatoes. So I went to my spot on the park. It's actually in the community orchard. I gathered a bag full, and we got incredibly wet doing it because it rained last night. Lots of rain, very exciting. So that's why I wanted to gather the comfrey, because I want to do the planting today, because I'm hoping the ground will be workable. But we shall see. In my total scruffs today, I just get stuck in. But let me show you what I've already been up to around the plot. Now this looks slightly better this morning before the cover blew off. I haven't secured it yet because obviously I've got to do the planting inside, but this will be my brassica cage, or as my nephew calls it, the cabbage cage. So I made the hoops, and then they were too high for the fleece, or the, the equifleece, the kind of really good insect netting, which is what I want for my brassicas, because I don't want them being eaten up. So I had to shorten the hoops, and then I put the bamboo cane across the top and secured them with some cable ties. The tubing itself is on a bamboo stick there, and this tubing is the underfloor heating pipe that I got from Facebook Marketplace. It was really easy to cut with the loppers, so that made it easier. And yeah, I don't think that looks too bad. So, there you go, get the full effect there. So I'm hoping that will do the job for the brassicas, although having seen brassicas I've got there, and that's not even all of them, and look how big they are. The poor things, they want to get in the ground, and they're going to need staking as well. So yeah, so that's a job to be done. And then the other big thing that's happened on the plot since last week is I actually made my compost bays, or half made them. So I've reinforced the cardboard base a little bit, and then placed the pallets. It wasn't that easy to do because the ground is so uneven. So what I have done is put some of the wood that's hanging around mine and Mark's plot. I put that underneath to help level things out, and that seems to have done the trick. So I've got 3 bays. I need to secure them all, so I've brought some of that plasticky wire stuff to just tie them in together. I'm not gonna be drilling or anything, and then I just need to put the doors on. So I think I'm going to make that the first job of today, to secure those so they're not falling all over the place. And one did fall on top of me yesterday, which wasn't very pleasant. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I think it's on to the brassicas and getting those in the ground. So I shall perhaps see you on the other side of that. So this is where we're at so far. I have dug 5 holes on each side of the tunnel, which is about a 1 foot, well, it's supposed to be a 1 foot spacing. It's yeah, scant 1 foot. And then I've found the 10 strongest plants to put in the tunnel, which I was hoping would be 5 calabrese and 5 cauliflower. But I cannot find the cauliflower. Some of these may be cauliflower. My labelling has not gone well. Hi Dory, come to see. Hello baby. Yeah. I've filled, so I've dug the holes, fair-ish deep. That clay is super thick, and then I have watered them with a bit of sort of weed feed, basically a bucket of water at the back that had weeds in it. I took some of that out and put that in the hole as a feed, and then I've watered the holes. Then I've put compost in, just a multi-purpose compost, and then I've just sprinkled with garden lime, which I don't know if this plot has clubroot. If it does, that lime will help with it and it won't harm the brassicas. The last thing I'm going to put in the hole is a bit of the mycorrhizal fungi. I will learn how to say that at some point. What I'm not putting in the hole is any of the comfrey, because comfrey is really for, as I understand it, for fruiting vegetables and things, as opposed to leafy. So these are of course leafy. Dory, you can't stay away because I don't want the lime to get on you. Go on. There we go. Sit down there. A bit hot on the plot. I keep encouraging her to go under the bench in the shade, but she wants to go out and explore, of course. Yeah, it is hot. I can't even see myself on this video, so I don't know if I'm getting only half my face in. I'll hold it a bit further away. So I'm going to get these in now, so the fungi, and then I'm going to bury them. Now, unlike tomatoes, brassicas will not form roots from their leggy stems. But it doesn't harm them, I don't think, to plant them a little bit deeper. Not like squash, which have a stem that can quite easily sort of get soggy and snap. So, but brassicas should be okay, and because these are awfully leggy, I do want to bury them a little bit deeper. Yeah, and then give them a good water in and get the net back over before the butterflies find them. Okay. Here we go. Go. I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with myself, although that was hard work, and the poor little calabrese don't look too happy for it. Come on, perk up. I've given them a good water, and I forgot the fungi on at least some of them. Pretty sure that one is a kale and not a calabrese, but all in all, not bad. I tell you what was good. There's the seam for the netting on that side, and there it is on that side. Talk about exact. But there is a lot of excess at either end, so I've just kind of bunched that and put a brick on. But I don't think don't think any cabbage whites are getting in there. And it looks really pretty, actually, I have to say. If only the plants in it looked as pretty. But we shall have faith that they will perk up. The other thing to say is that I firmed them in really well. So that's apparently the trick with brassicas. They want to be in really solid, firm ground and firmed in nicely. So I did do that, and this is solid ground. This is the clay. So my hope is that they're going to really like this site. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, and I put the bamboo canes in and attached them to that just to give them a little bit of support, because they're very floppy. They need to get their roots out and stabilising the plant. Hey, oh, you can tell I'm a bit tired. It was my plan to get all the corn and all the squash on the plot today. But first I think have a sit down and drink some water. Every job. Good morning. It is a beautiful morning. It's Wednesday. It's just after 7. I thought I'd be the first on the plot, but there's an old boy down there already hard at work. So I left you on Monday afternoon. Well, I thought it was Monday afternoon, and when I got home it was evening. I had planned to come back down in the evening. Time just disappears. So I left you having put my calabrese into the tunnel and constructed the tunnel. How are they looking? Much of a muchness. This is a great view of the plot. You get my whole plot here. I put the water. You're on the water butt. I put it up on bricks so I could use the tap, although I don't know how much I'll use it because it's so much easier to dip. But that means I can balance the camera on top of it now and get this really good view and a proper sort of not held up like this. Getting the hang of this vlog thing, clearly. Yes, so I left you then on Monday, between when I finished filming, because I ran out of charge anyway, and got home. I also put in this row of kales, which are looking pretty good. So they're between the main crop potatoes, which a lot of you advised me to do when I was saying I've got this wasted space between the rows of potatoes. So I did that. I don't think I did much else. So I did the water, oh yeah, I cleaned all the water butts ready for the rain, which yesterday we did get. So it was a full-on day of rain pretty much yesterday. So I did come down to the plot just to see it getting wet. But didn't do anything. And then I spent the day mostly in the greenhouse pricking things out. So I feel much more on top of my seedlings and stuff in the greenhouse. And I've discovered that I have about, I don't know, 50 more kales. I'm not quite sure where I went wrong with the kales, but I have an enormous amount. I think I was probably compensating for last year when I somehow had no kales. Planning's got to be done for where a million kales can go. But as I was telling Liam last night, I think this is not a bad thing, because kales overwinter so well, and they provide colour and structure in the garden over the winter. And then of course in the spring you get the flowers, which are lovely for the pollinators, an early pollinator. So I'm thinking lots of kale is a good thing, and I will just stick them in my like ornamental borders and stuff. Yeah, I think that was my day yesterday, so I didn't take you along. But I brought you here today because it's a big day, or a big morning, because I'm here early because it's going to get hot again today. The ground is moist from all this rain. Should be perfect for planting. I'm going to get the squash and sweet corn in. I'm at least going to do one bed of squash and sweet corn. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to space everything yet, because if you do the sweet corn in your grid a foot apart, where do you fit the pumpkins in? Maybe I'll have a little Google before I do it. Dory's in the potatoes. Let me go get my dog before she escapes. Very close to escaping there. Oh, off she goes. Right, I'll go get her and we're going to get on, okay? So, you know, historically I don't do well with labelling. I've tried better this year. I failed. The pen has faded on the tags. So the only ones I'm sure of are the Big Macs, the two that are from my cousin, which are Crown Prince, and I'm pretty sure these are Tromboncinos, but that's going to be difficult if they're not, because they're supposed to be going up the archway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, I have 29 squash. And 5 courgettes. How many sweet corn do I have? $41, I think. Let's say 40, because I can divide that number. So 4, so I could have 10, so 5 in each if I'm doing it on, yeah, that's right, isn't it? 40. 5, 10, 15, 20, yeah, 40. Okay. But the 5's a stupid number for a grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 pumpkins around them. I don't think that's right. What if I do the sweet corn in the centre and the pumpkins around the edge? Does that defeat the object though of having the ground cover? God, do you see why it takes me so long to garden? Just trying to figure it all out and then just going with something random in the end. Right, I'm just going to stop rambling to you while I figure this out and just do it. And then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Look at her hiding. I see you, Dory. I see you. I think it's time for the lead. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted, Dory. Come on. No. Sit. Sit. Just have a little sleep. That's it. Watch Mummy work. She's going to be there all of 2 minutes. What do you mean? There she goes. took a ridiculous amount of time. I won't show you all of that because I went back and forth and back and forth. And one of the problems now is I've moved things around so much that I've mixed up the two varieties. Right, now all I've got to do is get them in. So that's 20 done. Well, how many did I say I have? Oh, so I've got about 20 to go. Oh, and I changed my pattern again. It's a very nice morning. I'm feeling very accomplished. I mean, I'm only halfway there, but already it seems to be going well. The corn is alive, the ground is good. I'm using less space than I thought I was going to be using. This all seems very positive. Okay, it's nearly 10:30, and all the sweet corn are in. Now that didn't take me, what would it have been, over 2 hours. I got rather interrupted. So Mel, who's got the plot opposite mine, there, on that side of the container. Okay. I had a long chat with him, and so that was about an hour. And then he mentioned he had some slabs because I'm creating this path down the edge of the bed, which I have been doing. That's something else I was doing at the weekend. So I've been moving slabs on his little wheelie trolley thing. So that's done. Then I got the rest of the corn in. Then they had a stock delivery at the shop. So normally you can't buy from the shop in the week. It's only open on Sunday. But as they were refilling stock, I got in there and bought 16 bamboo canes. So ready to put more beans in. Dory's been relatively good. She did chase a cat down the plot, so she's back on her lead. But she's been sitting. She's been sitting nicely while I've been putting the corn in. So in terms of the sweet corn bed, so there's the sweet corn, all the big ones, and then those are the mini ones. And then I've placed squash all around the edge of the entire bed, including between the Saskatoons. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 on there? Is that right maths? It is not, it's 14. So there's 14 squash in there. No idea what varieties. Okay, on the big bed, I've managed to fit in 15. This is the Big Max right at the front because that'll be the showstopper, hopefully. And then I've got Tromboncino, I think, on each side, ready for the arch. And then no idea what varieties after that. Now I've done spacing of a kind of a metre square for each. Monty said you should, did he say 4 square metres per squash? Well, that's all right if you've got a massive field to grow in, Monty. I'm squeezing them in. But the idea is that they can spill over onto the paths, which will make walking difficult and strimming difficult. But yeah, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make for the pumpkins. And what that means is every single pumpkin has a space. I thought I'd have some to take home, but that's great, that's fine. They can all grow here. Yeah, super. Right, I might go in the shade and have a slurp of tea, and then I'm going to get all these squash in. I'm going to feel so much better when all the squash and all the sweet corn are in. Oh, but now I've got my bamboo canes, I need to get the beans in, and I've got those cauliflowers to put in, and those peas, and those edible lupins. Sorry, I hadn't rehearsed to do that. I'm just looking and thinking, shit. There's also climbing beans there. There's foxgloves. Yeah, and about 1 million kale. Oh, here's some kale. Right. One thing at a time. Okay, so I've got the compost and the comfrey. And can you hear the strimmer in the background? That's the mowing on the park. So all that comfrey that I picked 2 days ago is now being strimmed, and it will just go to waste. So got there just in time. I think I'll use the fungi stuff again. Anything else that will feed these, because we know squash are hungry plants. I think sweet corn are hungry plants as well, but yeah, I've just stuck those in. They're fending for themselves, but I am going to pamper the pumpkins a bit more because I really want pumpkins. So they're getting the compost, the comfrey, the fungi, a good watering. I think that's it. And then I will mulch them with the rabbit bedding and grass, see what I've got left. Okay. Right, I have 3 down, so I'll show you what I figured out as my method. Okay, so here's my squash. No idea what variety. They all look super healthy though. They've got a nice root system on. A handful of comfrey, and then I'm going to dig a hole. Right, once my hole is dug, I put the comfrey in the bottom and chop it in and loosen the bottom of the planting hole. Okay. Then it's getting a plant pot full of compost. Rid of the lumps, so with the comfrey a bit. Make the hole. A little bit of the fungi that I've already forgot on poo. Some will have it, some won't. And then in he goes. See? How good is that root system? Really good. So straight in to the hole, turn them in, and then all this excess clay from the dug hole, just work it to divide it up, and then it's forming a little wall around the squash. So that it sits in its own little moat. And that means when I water it, the water will go straight down to the roots rather than falling off the bed. One of the other things I could think about in terms of the direction that I want the squash to go in, so if I want it to tumble down onto the path, is the first true leaf you face in the opposite direction. So that's the first true leaf on this one, is it? Maybe it's that one? I don't know, it's hard to tell, so I'm not really bothering. I think this will be sufficient. Anyway, it doesn't matter if they go into the corn because that's part of the idea, isn't it? That they provide the ground cover for the corn. Okay, so that's 4 done. Well, what more to go? What did I have got? 30? I've got 30. No, 29. And I've done 4. 25 to go. I'm doing a lot of maths in this episode. I'm halfway there. So I've done the 14 around the sweet corn. I've watered them all. They all got about 3 litres of water, and then I've just mulched inside the hole with some of the rabbit bedding, which had scraps of food in and stuff as well, so which is fine. That can break down. Obviously pumpkins and stuff will grow in on compost heaps, so it's getting pretty warm. Actually the sun just went behind the cloud, and the breeze, oh that's lovely. And it was my plan sort of to do this half and then go home for lunch and come back later and do the other bed of squash. I'm slightly tempted to stay because Dory's being so good. She's lovely and quiet. She's just sleeping under the chair. But yeah, I think if I try and tackle another 15 squash right now, I'll probably be overdoing it. So I think go home, have a rest, get some lunch, and come back a little bit later. Right, yes, I am out of tea, so it is definitely time to get going, but maybe see you here later. Good afternoon. It's afternoon. It's actually Thursday afternoon. I did come back yesterday, but only for a quick water, because well, in part I was shattered, but also there was some tortoise drama on our street. A tortoise had got loose, so I had to go and catch it. Surprisingly heavy and strong legs, tortoise. So he lived in the garden for a few minutes under the brassica cage with some bolted lettuce and water, and then his owner came to collect him shortly afterwards. And yeah, then it was just so hot, and I didn't want to be in the blazing sunshine again. Having said that, I've spent the morning down on the plot in quite hot weather, slathered in sun cream, and got the rest of the squash in. So I'm so pleased to have got all of those in, and I even went so far as to put the courgettes in as well, so I'll show you those in a moment. I've since been home, had lunch, had what I call a tennis nap. I like the tennis, I particularly like napping to it, and feeling refreshed and back on the plot, because I want to get some more stuff done while it's gone overcast and it is relatively cool. Having said that, it looks like rain. We have rain forecast. Didn't think it was going to happen because it was so sunny, but it looks like we might get it, in which case I will be sheltering under Mark's makeshift roof. One way to get around the plot. Anyway, so I didn't have Dory with me this morning because it was a bit hot, but she's here now, currently exploring, eating grass. So let's show you what I've done. So here is squash bed number 2, although this should be squash bed number 1 really, shouldn't it? This is the main squash bed. 15 squash in here, Big Macs there, tromboncinos on either side, maybe, and then an assortment of other squash. Remember I said I was really chuffed that I could fit all the squash that I had grown into these 2 beds. Turns out I had another 6 at home. So I swapped some of those in and out for this. They were spaghetti squash. They didn't germinate the first time, so I'd done some replacements. So there's a couple of those in there now as well. And there's the bed from yesterday, still looking good. And then I'll just show you the courgettes. So I decided in the end to put them along here. So this is the raspberry bed. There are the raspberries. One nearly ripe. I ate all the ones on the yellow one this morning when I needed a snack. We've then got the line of coriander and phacelia, and then there are the courgettes. So I only had 5 courgettes that made it, so they're all in here. I did actually sow some replacements for these as well, and they're in the greenhouse at home. They're not ready to go in yet. Ooh, falling as always. So the more established ones are now in this bed. I weeded the bed and I've mulched it with the church's grass clippings. So I'm quite pleased that looks a lot better than it did. Now I can't remember exactly what Bev said in the comments, but it led me to Googling whether courgettes and tomatoes were a good companion plant, and it turns out they are. In fact, Google told me that they are ideal companion plant. So I've brought down 4 tomatoes to put in between these courgettes, so that's on the agenda for this afternoon. The other thing I want to do is get more of the beans in, especially because I had a tray of cells that were like half beans and half zinnias, so I popped out the beans to bring them down, and I was like, that was a bit of a stupid thing to do, because now the roots are all exposed and they're drying out, so I need to get those in the ground ASAP. So I need to make a structure for them, and I'm not quite sure where that's going now because I seem to have filled my allotment. Have I literally filled it? I've got this one little square here. So it's time to be clever with space. And the thing with beans, of course, is you can make archways and things and go under them. Where would I do that though? Oh, maybe along there. And what else have I? Oh, I've still got a million kales to go somewhere. The cauliflowers to go somewhere. I've got sunflowers and foxgloves, edible lupins, peas. Peas need to go somewhere. They're starting to look really sad. There's a gap. There's a gap. Let's put some peas in there. I think that's what it's going to be like now. Right, so let's get cracking before the rain comes. Although I have to say, some rain would feel so refreshing right now. It's really humid. And yeah, the plants would love it, I'm sure. Oh, first thing I need to do, oh, there's the dog, she's okay, is change into my dungarees, because I'm in a dungaree dress and get muddy knees. Here comes the rain. Just got the tomatoes in. Come on, Dory. Let's take shelter. Oh, sit in the corn like you're in a horror movie. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I haven't got my chair. Put all the stuff that needs going out of the sun under the roof. So it's all in my chair. But I'll move it out from under the roof so that you can get a good water now. Well, the weather is still very much deciding whether it wants to rain or not. We've had thunder rumbling for the last, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. So in the meantime, I've created one PTP. So utilising every space. And in the spirit of that, I've just started this. See what you think of this. So we're not there yet because I've got to get the chair to get up there. But this is the squash and corn. This is the perennial bed. And I've put the bamboo sticks either side of the path. So when the beans are growing up either side, you'll walk under it like this. Oh, we'll have to... Sorry, I should have done that with the camera the other way. Let's do it this way. So... Oh, you will have to footage there. Yeah, we'll have to bend to get under it, but even so, I think that'll be good. It's good use of space. Right, so yeah, I just need to get the chair to put the pole across the top so it looks like Mark's. Only I'm not going to use that many bamboo sticks. I think I'm going to string it instead. Well, we'll see. Let's do the initial frame and see where we go from there. Right, I've lost my dong again. There she comes. Decided it probably wasn't a good idea to be up on a stool in the middle of a thunderstorm. Mark's these sides on me too. It's just coming right through. Right, I think we need to go to the shed. Where's my tea? Oh, no tea left. That's a disaster. Are you alright, Dory? Everybody's going. You can do it! Yeah! I know my structure is a bit unsteady in the rain. Maybe I will have to use more bamboo planes to keep it a bit more rigid. Just noticed that the shed does actually have a hole in the roof. And potentially some very big spiders. While we're sheltering in the shed, I've been having a look around and I remembered I've got this. What if I put that around the bamboo at the bottom so the beans can climb up it initially, and then I'll just string from the top of this to the bamboo cane? Would that make it rigid enough? So while we're just sitting here, I'll answer some comments from last week's tomato video. So Ali from My Rusty Garden and Claire from Growing Plotty both mentioned that I should have something covering those pipes so critters don't fall in and can't get out. So I thought I might just put a upside down plant pot on the tops of each of the pipes. I was thinking I could put some kind of netting or something else, but it's probably easier just to put a plant pot, take it off water, pop the plant pot back on. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I wanted to say, which is an amendment for this video, is that I shouldn't have put the mycorrhizal fungi with the brassicas, because in last week's episode I remember I read the back of the packet and it said no good for brassicas. So that was unfortunate because I wasted a bit there and I could have used it on those tomatoes that I've just put in, but I've run out now. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. I 5 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi. 7 Mississippi. 8 Mississippi. 9 Mississippi. 10 Mississippi. 11 Mississippi. 12 Mississippi. 13 Mississippi. 14 Mississippi. 15 Mississippi. 16 Mississippi. 17 Mississippi. 18 Mississippi. 19 Mississippi. 20 Mississippi. 21 Mississippi. 22 Mississippi. 23 Mississippi. 24 Mississippi. 25 Mississippi. 26 Mississippi. 27 Mississippi. 28 Mississippi. 29 Mississippi. 30 Mississippi. 31 Mississippi. 32 Mississippi. 33 Mississippi. 34 Mississippi. 35 Mississippi. 36 Mississippi. 37 Mississippi. 38 Mississippi. 39 Mississippi. 40 Mississippi. 41 Mississippi. 42 Mississippi. 43 5 miles away. That's science. I'm really hungry. What is it, 5 o'clock? I bet this your dinner time too, Dory. I bet you're hungry. So I think I'm going to have to brave it. But the thing is, I've already put out the beans ready to plant. So I think I'm going to have to plant those in the rain before I can go home. It's just rain, isn't it? Once I get home, get warm and dry. Mum just texted, are you still in the shed? Yes, Mum. Right, Dory, you stay in the shed. You can watch me from afar. You can do the filming. And I'm going to go out there and plant some beans. I'm not going to worry about supports. I'm just going to get the beans in the ground and go home. What are you doing, dog? Oh, I know. You had a bath this morning. Now you smell all wet dog. Right, let's do this. Right, we're on 2%. They were potentially the fastest beans ever planted. I've got my crest of a shore to get home. And you just know, don't you, within 5 minutes of getting home, the sun is going to come out. But anyway, that is me, day done. Thursday, done. Thanks for joining. Good morning. I think I might actually be the first on the plot this morning. It's 7:30. Rain has stopped. It went on for about another 45 minutes, an hour after I left, so I think I did the right thing leaving when I did, and it gave me a chance, come on Dory, once I got home to water the tomatoes, which I've also given a good feed this morning. They're looking okay. Not brilliant, not huge, but alive. I don't know if it counts if you're first on the plot, if you're immediately going to leave and walk the dog, but I wanted to bring the car down and bring cardboard that's been collecting in the entryway, so I've got that to put out, and I brought down an enormous dahlia that I have that was a bit garish for the garden. I don't mind particularly a garish vibrant plant, but that one was a bit loud, so I thought it would work well on the allotment. And I also brought down a load of sunflowers to put in between the pumpkins. So I'm going to work on the plot this morning. It's Friday, by the way. Come on, Dory. I'm going to work on the plot this morning because this afternoon I'm having a mother-daughter day afternoon with my mum. And the weekend is quite busy, so I think this is the last instalment of the video. So let's see what we get done today after the dog walk. Oh. It's nearly 11. I've done loads, and that's with the mature gentlemen all coming over to have their little chats. As soon as she hears me talking to you, she wants to be involved. She's been very good. She's just been sleeping on the grass, although did just have a hilarious moment. You know how I'm always falling down the moats around these beds. She was just laying there and she decided to roll over and rolled into the moat like that with her legs. I think she was a bit embarrassed. Yes, we hear you. So I've got everything in, bar kales and peas. So I did really well, and we'll have to go stand with Dory so that she feels part of the video. go. There we go. Look, you're on the video. Yes, we know. You're the star of the show. Oh. There we go. She's just got to sit on me now. What a difference it makes when the weather is like this. You know, in the sunshine it's lovely, but everything's a struggle, especially when the ground is rock hard. But today it's overcast, it's mild, there's a breeze. The ground is so workable. It's amazing. It's actually crumbling in my fingers. Brilliant, brilliant. So it's been a really good, productive morning. So to end this week's video, I'm just going to take you around and show you what I've been doing today. Okay, Dory? Is that okay? So starting at the front of the plot. So squash bed. Today I've added sunflowers. So they're in between each of the squash. So there's 8 sunflowers on that bed. It will all look very regimented if they all grow. Also in this bed, there's that enormous dahlia, which actually has a bud coming. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that soon. I also put some edible lupins in here, which I had left over, and a lavender just there. So I'm thinking, because I may have mentioned this, I like things symmetrical, I might put my other enormous speckled dahlia this side. It's a different colour, but nevertheless, and then another lavender in there. Yeah, so pretty happy with that bed. I don't think I did anything extra on here since yesterday with the courgettes and the tomatoes, but just to sort of show, there's a good one, how the tomatoes recover so quickly once they're in the ground. It's brilliant. Look at that horseradish now. Oh, some of you'll be gritting your teeth as I show you that. I put in a row of edible lupins along here, and then this is my bean structure. So I finished it. So last night in the rain, I'd got these bits up. I'd got the beans in, so I've refirmed those in because the beans have never been planted in such a hurry. But then today I've secured the bamboo cane across the top now, and then I've, as the brainwave that we had during the storm, I put chicken wire along the edges for the beans to grow up. Okay, so through the tunnel we go, and to this bed where the beans are doing very well. Up they go. So I put my cauliflowers into this bed. So there's 4 cauliflowers. There was 5. There's number 5, just there. He snapped. So I've put him in the ground anyway, but also added a kale. So I haven't got those netted at the moment. Fingers crossed nothing eats them in the meantime. Right, on this bed, so the squash and the sweet corn bed, I've added a bean structure in the middle of this as well, which is slightly random, but yeah, we're struggling for space. Oh, Dory, all of this grass, and that's where you choose to sit. I think, oh no, that's not it. It's not it. I've also put in this very weedy fruit tree guild, which I will weed and sort out because I want to put some more stuff in here, but I have added some sunflowers into this one, and also some foxgloves. So a couple over there as well. So yeah, but this bed needs a good clean up. But yeah, you can see how much you can get done when you got the right conditions and you can just put your head down and get on with it. Oh, one thing I did mean to mention, oh, under the bean structure we go again. When I was putting in these squash, I think it was around here, I was digging the hole for them and found a load of potatoes. So that was nice. And I cooked them for dinner last night and they were lovely. So yeah, I knew I'd got volunteer potatoes around that area, but of course this bed was then mulched and covered, and the foliage died off, but the potatoes, they were still under there. So we just got the peas left, a load more kale, and I've just seen this bucket This has got the half-dead roses in that I took out of the garden. I'm thinking I should probably get those in the ground. So I'll make that the last job of the day, I think. And then call it quits, get home, get showered, get dressed and take my mum for lunch. But what a productive week. Just shows how work gets in the way of doing your allotment. But yeah, at the beginning of this week I had 2 completely empty beds and now I'm struggling to find where to put things. So I've got a little space around those beans there, and I suppose as the potatoes come out that'll free up space for more kale, I guess. But yeah, that's been a really good week. I would have liked to have got the grass trimmed. I would have liked to have dismantled those compost heaps, although I did start weeding around them a little bit. But I'm really glad to have got a lot of the plants in the ground which were beginning to struggle in their pots, as is a lot of the stuff that needs to go in the home garden. So that also needs doing at some point. So we've still got the weekend, but I think we'll leave this video with Monday to Friday. And so thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my week on the plot, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I shall see you next week. Bye. Bye. Bye, Dory. Bye, bye.